Hi, I'm Zoe, and for the past year or so, I've been learning how to figure skate. And I made a lot of really awesome progress, so I figured I could make a 1-year progress video, because when I first started, these videos were like a really big comfort because I knew absolutely nothing. Like I could barely move forward. I could kind of turn backwards, couldn't really skate backwards. I was starting from absolute ground zero. And a big reason why I stayed motivated was because I was looking at these progress videos of these other people who were also starting from ground zero. But by the end of the first month, I was actually able to move around a little more, and I could go backwards and forwards, I could turn, I had some swizzles, I was starting crossovers, I had some skills under my belt that felt really good to have, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm making progress, and that was really fun. Certain things were really frustratingly hard in the beginning because it feels like you're learning how to walk again. And so when you can't walk, you're like, oh my gosh, why can't I do this? Things that seem like they kind of should be really easy are just so hard. Like backwards crossovers. Oh my God, I could not do backwards crossovers for the longest time. It just didn't make sense. I was so scared of actually getting the foot to cross over, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I would just look down and try and cross my foot over, and it wouldn't happen. And it took me, I think 2 months, to get from my first session to getting backwards crossovers, which is a basic way of moving backwards. The first 5 or 6 months of pure skating, so not counting that quarantine, was just moves. It was just learning turns, learning forward and backward, just basic skating skills, crossovers, forwards and backwards, 3 turns, all 4 of the basic 3 turns. Just learning footwork and learning how to move around and gaining confidence before I actually got into spinning and jumping. In the first couple weeks of working with a coach, my spins went from being really weird, and I would just kind of try something and then hope that I stayed up in the spin position, to having actual purpose and technique. I actually lost them for a minute, which was really weird. I had a few weeks where I just couldn't do them, and they come and go, but it was really bad. I couldn't even center at all. I could barely get 1 or 2 rotations, and I had no idea what happened. I just totally lost them, and I was like, what's happening? And so I had a lesson with a different coach from normal that my main coach works with sometimes, and I had to go back to basics, starting at okay, you gotta do the 2-foot spin, and then going back to scratch spins, and they were really slow, but I was just happy that I was spinning. And from there, I've never lost my spins as bad as that. They've sort of been on a steady rate of improvement. Backspins are a very like tricky element for me. Sometimes they're like all right and I'll get, you know, like 3-4 rotations, but other times they'll just be like so bad and it's so volatile. I also started working on jumps. So you start with little things like bunny hops or a ballet jump. Then I went and I did some waltz jumps, which felt really weird at first, and my arms were like still at my side. Looking back at old videos of me doing waltz jumps is kind of funny because I was just going for it and I did not know what was going on, and it was very funny to me because they used to feel like so unstable, but now I can just throw waltz jumps like crazy. Like they're my go-to warm-up jump. I used to have to like work up to doing a waltz jump, but now it's like one of the first things I do when I get on the session is I do all my edges and then I go and I do a couple waltz jumps. So I started waltz jumps, then I went to salchow, and they were really weird and spinny and scary for a while. And I did not really know what I was doing coordination-wise, but as I practiced them more and more and more, certain things become really automatic and you can focus on really fine-tuning your technique. So where they are right now, they're definitely not technically perfect. I still put my foot down on the exit a lot. Sometimes when I don't even need to, I just sort of like 2-foot the landing and then kick back. It's a problem. Far from perfect, but definitely way better than when I started them. So I'm happy with it so far. And then what's the next? Toeloop. Oh my god. Toe loops, I only very recently stopped being scared of them. They're probably my least favorite jump. They're my least favorite jump. For a long time, I just did not do toe loops. I would go weeks without practicing them, and it kind of shows because they're a little weak. I tried doing a few loop jumps and they didn't like really happen. They were like kind of weird. And so I kind of put those away, and in like December-ish, so it's been like 2-3 months, I came back to them. I've got some pretty okay ones. You know, I get a good amount of height, a good amount of distance on some days. A couple weeks-ish after I started loops, I started like experimenting with trying to do sit spins, and they kind of happened, kind of didn't. And then my coach actually went and was like, okay, well, here's how you do a sit spin at our next lesson. And they're not low enough yet, but I'm working on that off ice. I'm doing, you know, like off ice exercises to try and get my legs stronger so that I can hold like a lower sit spin position. I don't know if I'm ever going to be one of those people that's like almost sitting straight on the ice and then can just come back up no problem. But I do think I can get it to 90 degrees because it's already like pretty close. It just, those last couple, with that last like inch or two that I need to really close in and like make it a proper sit spin, it's very tricky. Yeah. Is that everything? I think that's everything. I'm a skater. Skating. I'm filming a 1-year progress video. It's been a year, dude. I used to like low-key daydream about what my 1-year progress video would be, and now I'm like actively making it. This is like really cool for me. This is a big moment. Okay.